morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode 9 of Kayfabe Coffee, the show that keeps it real while we pretend it's real. Hey, everyone, good morning. I am your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, the barista of broken kayfabe, if you will, pouring out hot takes stronger than a Starbucks shaken espresso. Welcome to Kayfabe Coffee here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. It is Thursday, February 19th. No OTM recording day tonight, so this is the only dose of Mr. OTM that you are going to get for this beautiful Thursday. It's a little warm out here in the Midwest still. It's a little tease, We get this a lot here in the Midwest. We get a little tease, before spring actually gets here. So you'll have a couple days where it's like 50 and 60. You're wearing shorts, you're wearing tank tops, and then you get hit with snow like a week later. So I'm expecting snow next week, but hopefully it doesn't ruin my plans to travel to Cincinnati because I will be attending Rumble at Rhinegeist, which is happening at Rhinegeist Brewery, of course, in Cincinnati next Friday, hosted by Warrior Wrestling. And the Main Event Network is the official sponsor of that show going down next Friday. So be a friend and tell a friend what we got going on here at the Main Event. Hit that subscribe button for more Main Event moves. We're on the road to 300 subscribers here at the network. And if you didn't see the news, there was some pretty big news, a big announcement, I guess I should say, this morning that next week, before Rumble at Rhinegeist 2 in Cincinnati, Ohio, we are having the Warrior Women's Champion, Tootie Lynn from St. Louis, Missouri, joining us for Main Event Mixer episode 41. This is the very first time us at the network are hosting an interview, so this is a really big deal. And we have no other than the women's champion herself from Warrior Wrestling coming on to join myself and the Wrestling Junkies podcast. And speaking of the Wrestling Junkies podcast, are you going to visit Mr. Cincinnati too? He's going to be there. He's a part of the Main Event Wrestling Network, so of course he's going to be there. He is included in that sponsorship. We all chipped in a little bit to give back to Warrior Wrestling because independent wrestling is the lifeblood of professional wrestling, as we always say over here. Swerve versus MJF, double or nothing. Swerve gets the belt back. Well, don't we have Revolution first? I don't know if Swerve's going to get the belt back. You're fast forwarding too much. You're overlooking Hangman Page. We're going to get there, Eric. We don't want to jump the gun so soon. I want to chat with you. I want to see how your day's going. I'm already scared of Tekla's run one week and one backstage vignette. I warned you guys, she ain't going to be a great world champion. And that's not me trying to be negative or intentionally be negative. It's just, I don't see it. And obviously, they don't care. Like you said, she wasn't even on TV. She was just in a backstage segment this week. We could do better than that. But hey, if you want to check out that conversation with Tootie Lynn, it'll be myself and the Wrestling Junkies interviewing her for a half hour. And then we're going to dive into the card after that. Talk about Rumble at Rhinegeist 2. They had a great show there last year. And if you don't know anything about Warrior Wrestling, you're missing out. So make sure you check out our friends over at Warrior Wrestling. That won't be the only mixer, by the way, next week. I think we're going to have an Elimination Chamber mixer as well. I'm still not 100% if I'm even going to be able to make that one. I know we internally scheduled one for next Saturday, but I will be coming back from Cincinnati and that Warrior show. So I don't know if I'm going to make it in time, guys. But I do have my coffee. As you can see, there is iced coffee in the cup. So cheers to everybody. Good morning. Let's get this day started off right. This is my second cup of coffee, by the way. I was up at 5:15 for some reason. And here's a little peek behind the curtain with Mr. OTM. When I'm awake because you're not slowing down this brain. I always got ideas. I always got thoughts. The brain's always churning. And I don't know how to just turn it off. Obviously, I have my ways. As you guys know, I like to partake in other things. I'm not going to mention what those things are, obviously, but definitely calms my brain a little bit. But yeah, there was no chance I was going back to bed this morning. But I did go to bed a little early, so I am going to be jittery at the gym. You're right, Eric. Eric knows how my schedule goes. It's wake up, do a little kayfabe coffee, get into the gym, then I get some food in me for lunch, and then after that, it's kind of just promoting away at the stuff that we're doing here at the network with the podcast. A lot of people taking some weeks off, it seemed, this week with the Main Event Wrestling Network. So this was a perfect opportunity for me to run Kayfabe Coffee as much as possible. And who knows, if you guys want me to do another episode tomorrow morning, maybe I'll be joined by the Great Brown Hope and we'll talk about TNA Impact. Let me know in the comment section. I will talk about TNA if the people want it. But while you're here, don't forget, follow at mainevent_net on all of our socials. That is the best way to keep up with all the fun stuff that we have going on. You would have saw that announcement a little earlier today if you were following us, and shout out to all the new followers that we are gaining. We have gained 200 subscribers in general over the past year. Tremendous growth, almost one subscriber every other day. So if we can keep up that rate, I think we're going to have something special here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. But enough shilling. Why don't I just talk about AEW Dynamite? Because Dynamite went down last night, as it typically does on Wednesdays, of course. Occasionally they're going to have to run on another day. But what Tino is, he really is. See, Tino, this is the problem. I talk so much, I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, you're 5 minutes behind. Okay, that makes sense. Tino's always 5 minutes behind, people. He's in his own world. But we're going to start with what started off Dynamite last night, and that was Jon Moxley versus Mark Davis. And Mark Davis, man, that guy's different. He stands out. There's a lot of big men that try to work other styles. And that's not a bad thing. Some big men can do the luchador type things. I look at Dijak. I look at Keith Lee, very athletic. Obviously, we haven't seen those guys in a minute on TV. But Mark Davis stays true to what he is. He knows his value. He knows how to just be a traditional, hard-hitting big man. And Jon Moxley is a guy that thrives off contact. Jon Moxley loves that style of match. So this was a perfect way, in my opinion, to start off Dynamite, because these are just two dudes beating the crap out of each other. And what else could you really ask for? Because Mark Davis isn't going to be in any title scene. That's not what he's in AEW for. He's not going to be holding singles gold anytime soon. But he is going to give you really strong matches that you can believe in. Believability is a thing that, is not often seen in pro wrestling. There's certain guys that really just bring that realism to it. Brock Lesnar, Ilya Dragunov. And I feel like Mark Davis is one of those guys. Like, what you see is what you get with Mark Davis. And he is a dog. Even though he didn't win, this was a really good match. Tino said, no, not next Friday. I need to get to Chicago safe and hopefully no pulls around. Yeah, you know what? Do I have to teach you how to drive, Tino? I can, because I've only been in one accident in my life. That accident was when I was 17, so that was half my life ago. In the winter, I stopped a little late, and I got caught up in the ice. Other than that, Gagliardi over here is one of the best drivers you're ever going to, experience. I hate these contenders match. The challengers never win. Yeah, that's actually a good point. They do these a lot, and you don't see a lot of people pick up victories. It's a good way to showcase people. That's for sure. It definitely showcased Mark Davis and what he's capable of doing. Someone tells Stan we found him. Yeah, I'll have to let Stan know that Mr. Cincinnati was found in Cincinnati, of all places. There will be hopefully some video vlogs coming from that. But overall, to start off Dynamite, Jon Moxley defeated Mark Davis, obviously. But really good match. Strong match to kick off the show. No complaints whatsoever. But after that, FTR would come out and take the ring, talking about all their greatness and their glory. Stokely still in the wheelchair, bald and gets no hose. I know somebody else that's like that. But I'm not going to complain that we are now getting the Young Bucks versus FTR. It has been made official for AEW Revolution happening in a few weeks. And I compared this, I think, with Tino earlier this week. It might have been on one of my other shows. I do a lot of talking about professional wrestling, guys, so bear with me. I might have forgot, but the Young Bucks and FTR is the AEW equivalent of running the Usos versus the New Day in the WWE. And I know not a lot of people like comparing the two companies, but I do, because I enjoy all professional wrestling, which is very, very possible, people. You don't have to pick a side. You could just root for both sides, but going back to my point, running back Young Bucks and FTR, sure, people might be like, oh, we've seen this before. We've seen great matches before. How are they supposed to top it? And that's a fair question, but I still think it's going to be great professional wrestling, great tag team wrestling, because these are two true tag teams that have actually just remained tag teams throughout their entire career. which is a rarity nowadays. You see a lot of people get split up, but no, these are two true tag teams, two best tag teams of this modern era, no doubt. I think you put these two tag teams in that conversation with the New Days, with the Usos, for the best tag team of the modern era, and then we get to get it at Revolution once again. I think it's going to be fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks take those titles. I'm kind of curious what the chat might think about this match because, let's be real, at least the few matches that have been announced for Revolution, we've seen before. We've seen Jon Moxley versus Takeshita. We've seen Hangman Page versus MJF. We've seen the Young Bucks versus FTR, but I see why they're doing it. That's when AEW was at its best, when those feuds were going on. So they're just going to run it back because they think it probably can rejuvenate things, because let's be real too, the WWE right now isn't lighting the world on fire. The WWE has a lot of injuries that has kind of just thrown things up in the air going into WrestleMania. AEW is probably sitting here thinking, we see the gripe. We see the people talking online. Not everybody is enjoying Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Why don't we go back to what we know works? AEW knows FTR and the Young Bucks are going to deliver a really good match. They're going to get people to care. And I got the Bucks too, Eric. I think the Young Bucks are going to become the new tag team champions. And I think that's probably what's best for the summer tag team scene going forward, is that you have the Young Bucks, the OGs, everybody loves them, the EVPs, really returning to babyface form with those tag team titles. I think it could be a really fun summer for that tag team division. So we do know that's going to be official for AEW Revolution. After that, TBS Championship 4-Way. And now if you've seen other episodes of Kayfabe Coffee, you know my frustrations with singles titles being used in tag divisions and vice versa, just other titles not being showcased and being overshadowed by, the other title that they are holding. For example, Willow Nightingale. She has been the tag team champion with Harley Cameron, and she has been the TBS champion. Willow Nightingale is one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet right now. I don't think there's anyone denying that. But to me, until this match was announced, the TBS championship scene was an afterthought. And thankfully, they did do this match last night. But I'm also confused on how those three women even earned that opportunity. Let's call it what it is. Megan Bayne was a part of the losing team at AEW Grand Slam. Marina Shafir was part of the losing team at AEW Grand Slam. Why should they be getting title opportunities for that TBS title? That's just me. With that being said, though, this match was fantastic. It was a really good match. It's fun to see Marina Shafir presented in a different light. She actually smiled last night, which is the first time for everything, I guess, because I've never seen that woman smile, but good for her. Seems like she's having fun. I think last night would have been a good opportunity for a title change, though. And that's not taking anything away from Willow Nightingale once again. It just seems like they are more invested into telling a story with the tag team titles with her and Harley than they are in the TBS title scene. And that's okay. And that's why I think Megan Bayne would have benefited from holding that title, because she's actually a true powerhouse that can hold that title and be the, just the measuring stick for that mid-card title division. And I think Megan Bayne is somebody that really should have had singles gold already. I think there's nobody else that looks like her. There's nobody else that is presented like her. She is relatively new to professional wrestling, so I get them not rushing into things. But a thought that randomly just came into my head, where the hell's Camille been? You think about big women. Camille, I think, was doing American Gladiator, right? But we haven't seen her in forever. Maria was my favorite in Ronda's Four Horsewomen. Yeah, it'll always be Shayna Baszler for me. I think Shayna Baszler is definitely the most talented out of the four horsewomen, that is. And if I were to give a close second, it'd probably be Ronda. Because even though people don't like Ronda Rousey, which I get why people don't like Ronda, just because she's kind of been dogging the business as a whole, she was good at it. It might hurt to admit that for some wrestling fans, but Ronda Rousey was really good at professional wrestling. I think she definitely deserved more credit for what she accomplished in the WWE in her short period of time. I do understand, though, how people might have thought it got stagnant at the end. I definitely didn't like how Ronda was just like playing in the tag team division. It just never connected. But regardless, enough about the 4 horsewomen. These 4 women in this TBS title match did an outstanding job. Willow Nightingale, still your TBS champion. I don't know where they're going to go next. And maybe Mina Shirakawa is going to stay in that title picture because she was really close to picking up that win. And she's somebody that is organically over with the AEW audience, which is a great thing because I've said it before. I don't think there's a lot of people that are just organically over. I think a lot of it's forced cheering and forced hate. With Mina, no, everybody just loves Mina Shirakawa. So maybe that's the direction that they decide to go in after this. We'll see. Let me know, though, in the comments section. Who do you think should be the one to eventually dethrone Willow Nightingale as I take a sip of my iced coffee real quick? My phone's blowing up. Who's messaging me while I'm live? Oh, it's just the network retweeting my stuff, but they can't come in here and chat with me in the actual chat. Huh, funny how that works, guys. I don't see any of you in the chat, but I see you retweeting. Yeah, I'm calling out my own network. I can do what I want. After that, this match, I'm not going to be negative here. I'm just going to say it's not for me. Ishii's not for me. I don't think he's entertaining. I think he's boring. Credit to him for, fighting through this because I think he actually got hurt in this match. The treatment of Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd coming into AEW, they're really not being presented strong. They're kind of just there. They threw them together as a team, and they're losing. So why should I care? I don't think that's the best way to present people when they're making their debut in a company. That's just me. And that's something that I think AEW needs to be called on out more, is that they bring in a lot of new talent, and then they kind of just shove them to the back right away. I think of Josh Alexander right away. He's just a background player now. He's just a guy in a big faction. So that's the thing that I think AEW really needs to work on, is like, if you are going to bring in new people, and I get it, not every new person needs to be a main eventer, but they also shouldn't be losing every match. There's no reason Ishii and Orange Cassidy needed this win. Like, Orange Cassidy is bulletproof at this point. You know what? We're never going to see Athena on television. That's another thing that pisses me off. Where's Athena? You are hiding her on Ring of Honor. She is probably top 5 in that company, if not top 3. Just a waste. I'm sorry. But this match, not for me. If you enjoyed it, that's good for you. I didn't. We move on. After that, Hangman Page and MJF got into a war of words. We know their match is happening at AEW Revolution. It seems like it's going to be a Texas death match. And not only that, I believe Hangman Page said it in his promo. If he doesn't win that title, he will never compete for the AEW World title again. And gosh, why do they always have to go to this freaking stipulation? They did it with Cody Rhodes. I feel like they did it a couple years ago with somebody else. I could be mistaken. And now they're doing it again with Hangman Page. Hangman Page is someone that should never not be in the world title scene. So now I'm really conflicted. And that's probably why they wanted to add that little wrinkle to make you second guess. Is Hangman Page actually going to lose? Or is he going to win? Because I think a lot of us are under the assumption that MJF would retain. But that little thing there makes me uneasy. I don't like it. AEW could have the biggest gauntlet match ever if they crowned someone in the Don Callis family heavyweight champion. Next challenger has to run the gauntlet against every member of the Don Callis family. That actually could be fun. That actually is a good idea, GBH. I like that. I don't want Max to lose already. I don't think a lot of people do. I don't either. Trust me, I don't want MJF to lose, but I don't want Hangman Page to never challenge for a world title ever again. Obviously, there's ways they can go about it. He could earn that right back. I don't know if he intentionally was trying to say, I will never challenge as long as you are champion. That would make more sense, but that's just a stipulation, a little wrinkle that I don't care for in professional wrestling. I don't need that. Just not for me. But the promo was fantastic. These two on the microphone, I don't think there's any disputing it. I think Hangman Page and MJF are your 1 and 2 in AEW. I guess you could say Moxley's probably 1 or 2, but for me, Hangman Page and MJF are 1 and 2. When I think of All Elite Wrestling, I think of those 3 names. Hangman Page, Jon Moxley, and MJF. I'm sorry. Darby Allin's not one of those names. I'm sorry. Sammy Guevara's not one of those names. Who else did they have a part of those pillars? I don't think about those guys anymore. It is what it is. AEW has evolved. They've changed since their start. Hell, I've changed since the start. This sweatshirt is a large. This thing, I'm like swimming in it right now. I need a small because when I bought this, the year that they started, 2019, the same year I think OTM started, I was a bigger boy. Now, things change. I change, AEW changes, but some things stay the same because we're getting Hangman Page versus MJF once again for the title. Oh, yeah, he was a pillar too. Jungle Boy? Yeah, right. He ain't a pillar either. There's only one pillar that was actually a pillar, and that was MJF. Darby Allin has evolved to being relevant outside of AEW. Darby Allin is a pillar. I don't know anybody that talks about Darby Allin outside of professional wrestling. I don't think he's that relevant at all. If I went up to 10 casuals and said the name Darby Allin, I guarantee you, not even casuals, just people that don't watch professional wrestling, nobody would know who Darby Allin is. That's why he's not a pillar to me. He's not a huge star anymore in AEW. He's not presented like a star. He's just a side character. And that's not taking anything away from Darby Allin. I sat on OTM a year ago saying that he should be world champion. Because at that time, I believed that, the way that he was being presented. He was on the uphill, going towards that title, similar to how he was climbing Everest, but now he ain't a pillar. Your pillars are Ospreay, MJF, Takeshita. Ospreay, MJF, Takeshita. And you can make an argument for Swerve, I think, in that 4 spot. Going forward, at least, that's where I see for the future of All Elite Wrestling. But Hangman Page versus MJF, Texas Deathmatch, Revolution, main event. Yeah, that's going to put butts in seats, even if it is a 6-hour-long pay-per-view. Guys, while you're here, if you're enjoying the show, like and subscribe. We are on the road 300 subscribers. We are only 17 away. If we can get there by the Elimination Chamber, we're going to be cooking with gas over here, people. Yeah, I would say she's a woman's pillar for sure. I think women's pillars and men's pillars would be a totally different conversation. Toni Storm, I wouldn't even put Mercedes in that conversation just because I think Mercedes eventually is going to make her way back to the WWE. I could be wrong with that take. I've been wrong before. Tony's a pillar for sure. I think the women's division is much tougher. Willow Nightingale's a pillar for me. I used to say Britt Baker. She's no longer with the company. I'm high on Megan Bayne. I know that might not be a popular answer, but to me, she's a pillar. And after that, I'm not really sure. I have to do some thinking or see the roster. It's hard for me to think on the fly when I'm by myself. Ospreay wasn't there from the beginning. Ospreay is more of a crutch than a pillar. I mean, that's a fair point, too. But now he's a pillar because he ain't going anywhere. That's how I look at it, at least. Hayter's a pillar. No, I would disagree with you there, Eric. I think, and we're going to talk about it, too. Just the way she's being presented now, I think they see her more as just a tag team wrestler. And that's why they got the Brawling Birds, who, I'm sorry, I don't know the names of the the talent that were used. We'll call them enhancement talent, not jobbers. But the Brawling Birds, yeah, that's not for me either. I love Jamie Hayter. Like, everybody knows, I stood in line an hour and a half just to meet Jamie Hayter. I think she was a great world champion, but over the past couple of years, with the injury and the start and stop with her, I haven't cared about her and her character in a hot minute. And putting her with Alex Windsor is nothing that is exciting me yet. I mean, we can get there. We could definitely get there with these two because I think both women are very talented. Jamie Hayter's great. I'd like to see her as a singles competitor. This isn't the lane that I see her in personally thriving, but it is going to do a lot for Alex Windsor. It's going to get her a lot more exposure. A lot more people are going to know who she is because she's partnered up with Jamie Hayter. And that in itself is probably the reason why they are running with this tag team. It's going to be more of a vehicle to get Alex Windsor over. Yeah, I didn't know who they were, to be honest with you. No disrespect, but I had no idea who those were, so that's why I wasn't going to name who they were. After that, we got Kevin Knight defeating Beast Mortos, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was a little distracted during this match. I had other things going on. And by other things, I was playing college football, I think, during this matchup, so I don't really have many thoughts about this. And the reason I didn't really sit down and dive into this match, because I know it was going to be a good one. Both these men are very talented. I just don't care about jet speed personally. They're not for me either. And with the trios titles, I don't need to sit here and talk about the trios titles anymore. But Beast Mortos, man, I saw a couple spots that he had in this match. He's always good for a few fun spots. So Kevin Knight gets a victory over Beast Mortos. Eric says, I think only Ospreay till Jamie wins the Owen. Oh, you think it's only temporary, not Ospreay. Temporary till Jamie wins the Owen. I haven't even thought that far ahead. Eric's already thinking about the Owen. I'm just trying to get to Revolution here. I'm just going one show at a time. But yeah, that match, Kevin Knight defeated Beast Mortos. Like I said, I didn't catch much of that one live, so I really don't have much to add in terms of that one. But let's get to the main event of AEW Dynamite last night. Swerve Strickland versus Kenny Omega for the first time ever, I believe. And what a main event that was. There was a lot of hype, a lot of build, and a lot of excitement going into this matchup. Whoo, they delivered, man. And they proved why they are two of the best professional wrestlers on the planet Earth today. There's really not much that I can add. If you haven't seen the match, go back and watch it, because it was just these two men doing what they do best, and that was professional wrestling at its finest. You had your near falls, you had your close finishes, but ultimately Swerve Strickland picked up the win, which I think puts him in position to be that first challenger to MJF post Hangman Page if MJF were to retain at Revolution. But the real talking point that comes out of this match is what happened after. Now, Swerve was really leaning into the heel side of things as of late on television. I didn't know if that was just him trying to portray a tweeter character, but no, it really was a sign of things to come, because after the match, after Swerve picked up the victory, he would snap on Kenny Omega, put him through the announce table, make a statement that the real Swerve Strickland is back in AEW, and he is a bad man. I tell you that right now, a bad man. And that main event scene is fantastic. MJF's going to go up against Hangman Page, then he's going to go up against Swerve, then he might go up against Kenny or an Okada, and then he'll probably go up against Ospreay at All In. Like, MJF is going to go through the best of the best that AEW has to offer, and that's how you do it, folks. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Just run it back with your top main event stars. It's what the WWE has done for decades. They will put the same people in the top spots, and hell, it works. Swerve winning over Kenny Omega is the right call, in my opinion. Kenny is probably in the back end of his career. I see Kenny more moving towards the elevating of talent now. I think he's going to be that veteran that could go and that you could use at any point for whatever you need to be used for in AEW, whether that's elevating a Swerve Strickland or maybe holding a mid-card title. I think Kenny Omega is that guy going forward. I just don't see a Kenny Omega world title reign anytime soon. And that's probably why Swerve got the victory here. That's why he got the impactful heel turn on a Kenny Omega after the match. Because who's the best babyface in AEW? It's probably Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega or Hangman Page. Kenny ever won the IWGP? I'm pretty sure he was, right? Isn't that what he was famous for? Being IWGP heavyweight champion? Unless you're talking about a different title. I don't know half the time. I don't watch New Japan. I don't know much about the lore there. I typically stick to American TV wrestling. But yeah, I think Swerve versus MJF is going to be happening in a couple months. I don't know. I'm assuming that's Double or Nothing, like Eric said earlier. That's probably the agenda for AEW in the near future, because, like I said, I just don't see, as of today, Hangman Page taking that title from MJF at Revolution. But I tell you what, that is AEW Dynamite in a nutshell. Pretty good show last night. I enjoyed it. The main event was spectacular. It made my match of the year list, which the match of the year list, guys, it is filling up quick. We are only 2 months into the calendar year. Yeah, Swerve versus Hangman. Hangman burned his house down. Yeah, they could go that route, but I don't see them taking the title off MJF. Because AEW is at its best when MJF's at the top. That's how I feel. But here's my match of the year list, just because I can. I can ramble if people are still here. We're wrapping this up anyways. I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 match of the years, and we are in February. Swerve vs. Hangman would be a lot more fun than Swerve vs. MJF's. MJF's promos are on autopilot. I see that take, which I do kind of agree with, but he does change his promos slightly to cater towards his opponents. But I can see that critique for sure. All right, here's my match of the year list so far. CM Punk versus Finn Balor at Raw Belfast. That was early on in the year. Swerve versus Kevin Knight on Dynamite was a lot of fun early on in the year, but that one might get cut from the list because that's another thing I do. Once I start just adding things, throwing it at the wall, throwing it at my match of the year list, I start removing ones that I know don't stack up. So no disrespect to Swerve and Kevin Knight, but I am going to remove after looking at the rest of my match of the year candidates because I think these are better. We have 2 AJ Styles matches on the list for 2026. Styles versus Nakamura at Saturday Night's Main Event, and Styles versus Gunther at the Royal Rumble. Argue with a wall. It doesn't matter what you think. Be ready to add Santos versus Wagner 3. Oh, that's if I get a chance to watch it. It only gets added to the list if I watch it. I don't know when that's happening either, so you're going to have to let me know. NXT Championship ladder match from February 3rd. That one might get eliminated soon. It was really fun, but it might get eliminated soon because these last 3 matches are all AEW matches, and they all are amazing. Tommaso Ciampa versus Kyle Fletcher, which I think is my match of the year right now. Fletcher versus Briscoe at Grand Slam, the ladder match. And then last night, Swerve versus Omega in the main event of Dynamite. Those are the match of the year list as of right now. As you can see, I just keep it in the notes app. Easiest way to keep up with that stuff. But I've been doing that now for years. It's been years. It'll be in March during the first AAA PLE of the year, King of Kings. Oh, I'll probably be there then. I'll probably watch that. I don't really care, to be honest with you, Eric. Even though I was a fan of Ronda in the WWE, I don't really watch UFC or MMA. I think it's just probably a money grab situation, similar to what Jake Paul was doing when he was fighting Tyson and whatnot. Ronda needs the bag. She ain't coming back to professional wrestling because she knows nobody wants her in professional wrestling. So she figured, I'll go back to MMA and get my ass kicked. Why not? Who knows? She might win. I don't know anything about MMA, UFC. I don't watch that stuff. I watch fake fighting. I don't even know who Gina is. The only Gina I know is Gina from 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know who I thought was the most attractive, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy. Gina. Great movie. If you don't know that quote, we can't be friends. But we can be friends if you hit that subscribe button. Because like I said earlier, we're on the road to 300 subscribers here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. And I believe we're only 17 away. So if you love what I'm doing, you love what everybody else is doing, we got blogs, live shows, podcasts, you name it. We got it. We're talking pro wrestling every single day of the week. WWE, AEW, TNA, AAA, independent wrestling. It doesn't matter. We're talking about it all here at the Main Event Wrestling Network, and we want you to be a part of it. So the best way to do so, follow us on X and IG at mainevent_net. We keep everybody updated on our socials on what is going on. And speaking of what's going on, there's not one, but 2 main event mixers coming your way next week. We will be joined by Tootie Lynn, myself, and the Wrestling Junkies podcast. The Warrior Women's Champion joins us for the very first time before Rumble at Rhinegeist 2 happening in Cincinnati, Ohio next Friday. It's going to be a blast, so come hang out with us. That interview is going to be Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So no OTM on Thursday. We're going to probably do OTM next Wednesday. Speaking of OTM, the logo behind me, as you can see, hold on. There's only one On The Mark Wrestling podcast, people, established in 2019. All the other people that spell it differently, they're just fakes. They're phonies. They're frauds. We are the original OTM. Not Out the Mud in NXT. Not anybody else on the internet portraying to be On The Mark. We are the only On The Mark Wrestling podcast. At Pod On The Mark. That's all I got to say on that. Yeah, Rashee Rice is a dumbass. Dumbasses are going to be dumbasses. Am I right, Eric? But once again, Eric, thank you for hanging out. Great Brown Hope. Appreciate you guys hanging out. If there's anybody watching this at a later time, you can follow me at 2SweetKyle on all socials for more updates. There may or may not be an episode tomorrow. So if you want to know, just make sure you're following me personally. They couldn't even come up with their own name. We are also the original Main Event Wrestling Network. Is there another Main Event Network? Are there other people copying that now too? Yeah, like I went back to this, so let's address the elephant in the room here, because this is my show. I can do what I want. There's another podcast called On Da Mark with a D. They have a bigger following. I'm not going to say why, but they have a bigger following, and they were established in 2022. When you create a podcast, when you create anything, you should look up and see if there's anybody else out there. At least do your due diligence and see if there's anybody else that is taking that name. Because when I created my podcast, the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, I looked on the internet. The only On the Mark there was a golf podcast. On the Mark Golf Podcast. We could be the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. But there's only one On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. At Pod on the Mark, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi right here. You know it. Oh, wow. I'm feeling violent, too. There's another Main Event Wrestling Network? Jesus. Unreal. The imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? Isn't that what they say or something like that? Who knows, guys? We're still going to be here. We're still going to be the Main Event Wrestling Network. And make sure you're following me at 2SweetKyle to find out if I'm going to be talking Impact or just randomness tomorrow morning. If not, I'll be back next Tuesday recapping Monday Night Raw. So for myself and the Main Event Wrestling Network, you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time on Kayfabe Coffee, episode number 10.